Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. If you are just joining us, we're so glad you're here. The Daily Doses are daily videos for you to grow in your faith with others. This is an opportunity for us to share some scripture, give you some things to ponder and pray about. Now, this week, I'm going to be focusing on the topic of friendship. If you were with us at Shrewsbury Assembly yesterday, you know that Pastor Neville talked about the importance of choosing your friends wisely. Who you allow in your inner circle has a great effect on not only how your character develops as a person, who you become, but also what direction you're headed. If you missed it, you can always check it out online on our website. But today, as we talk about friendship, we're going to dive into different pairings in the Bible of people that were friends and what we can learn from their relationships. Now, the interesting thing about the pair that I'm going to talk about today is not only were they friends, but they were actually also relatives. And that brings up an interesting point. You see, sometimes the relatives in our lives, our in-laws, our brothers, our sisters, those in our immediate family, our husband, our wife, can be some of our closest friends. And what a gift it is when that happens. But we also know that sometimes the people that are relatives of ours can also become our enemies, which can be one of the most painful things, isn't it? A blessing of this couple in the Bible, Abram and Lot, was an uncle and a nephew, and yet their relationship went beyond blood and became friendship as well. We're going to pick up their story in Genesis chapter 13, and I also encourage you to read 14. In this instance, they had begun to get very wealthy. They were traveling together, living together. They had acquired many animals, herdsmen, and all sorts of things. But this began to create some conflict in their relationship. And I want us to learn today from how Abram responded to this conflict. So in Genesis chapter 13, beginning in verse 5, it says this. Lot, who was traveling with Abram, had also become very wealthy, with flocks of sheep and goats, herds of cattle, and many tents. But the land could not support both Abram and Lot with all their flocks and herds living so close together. So disputes broke out between the herdsmen of Abram and Lot. Now at the time, Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land. They were running out of space. Now, if you have ever had some of your relatives live with you, you know that the quarters can get squished, right? You can start to notice things begin to bug you. Where'd this go? I left that there. Why is this room messy? That's what was happening here. They were running out of space for all their possessions and all the people. And conflict had broken out among their employees, you could say. But Abram takes note of this and says, hey, before we get into conflict, let's deal with this. And we're going to pick that up in verse 8. It says, finally, Abram said to Lot, let's not allow this conflict to come between us or our herdsmen. After all, we are close relatives. The whole countryside is open to you. Take your choice of any selection of the land you want, and we will separate. If you want the land to the left, then I'll take the land to the right. If you prefer the land on the right, then I'll go to the left. This is beautiful. You see, sometimes we feel like being wise in friendship is just to let everything go. And sometimes we do let it go. Sometimes we genuinely don't hold on to it. We don't allow bitterness to form. We forgive quickly, but sometimes, let's be honest, we don't. Sometimes we get bugged. Sometimes instead of really letting it go, we sweep it under the rug, right? And that's where quarrels can begin to form in our hearts long before they form in our relationships. Abram saw this. He actually saw the quarreling among the herdsmen, and I'm sensing it started to get into the household discussions as well. And Abram says, wait a minute, let's deal with this. This is solvable. Hey, you know what I'll do? Let's just move to a new land. You choose first. What a beautiful example of genuine sacrifice. You see, oftentimes we'll barter kind of back and forth. Hey, I'll do this for you. You do this for me. Hey, I'm going to treat you kindly because you treated me kindly, which is great when everything is functioning well. When things start to give, really our heart issues can emerge to the surface. But that's not what Abram was doing here. Abram genuinely was willing to sacrifice. He was willing to let Lot have the best. Hey, you have first pick. We see this evidence because when Lot chooses the best, it says in the next few verses that he surveyed the land. He saw what was most fertile. He saw what was rich with resource. He saw where he thought his land could produce more for him. And that's what he chose. He left what he considered the lesser for Abram. And yet Abram doesn't get embittered by this. He simply meant what he said. He was honest in his offering of sacrifice. We see this evidence more when you go into 14, which I encourage you to read on your own, as we see that war broke out in the land that Lot chose, and he was actually kidnapped and taken into captivity. And how does Abram respond? Good. He got what was coming. No. Instead, he gathers all the men up that he could muster, and he chases after the enemy and captures back freeing his nephew and their possessions. Amazing sacrifice. Are you a friend who's willing to sacrifice? Not just when it'll benefit you, but genuinely sacrifice for someone else. Are you willing to put your friends above yourself? Are you willing to allow them to have the best choice, the first choice at times? Are you willing to give, or do you only give when you know you're going to get? Friendship involves sacrifice. Think about the friends in your life. Are they willing to sacrifice for you, or are they only in the relationship where they can get out of you? And likewise, are you a giver and willing to sacrifice for them? Take some time with the Lord today to evaluate your friendships on the topic of sacrifice. Consider where you can grow and can consider how the friendships you have can grow as well. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for another daily dose for spiritual growth.